Hello, hello! So today we're going to be making beef bourguignon, or also known as beef burgundy. It's basically just a fancy French term saying that you are cooking beef with red wine. I'll be cooking my beef in a Dutch oven, so it will braise in liquid for about 4 hours. I will check on it. I'm assuming 4 hours should be enough for it, but of course you always want to check and see how tender your beef is. And if it needs longer, just throw it back in there and put it in for longer. I have a Merlot, and I also have a Cabernet Sauvignon. Just, again, very fancy French stuff. Doesn't matter. No need to be fancy here. So basically what I will be doing is I will be cooking everything in my Dutch oven, first on the stove, and then popping it in the oven at 350 for about 4 hours. And the reason why I'm cooking everything in this, and I'm sure you can guess too, is because you want all those flavors to be in the same pot so they can all seep in while it's cooking over that 4 hours. And it's gonna be so tasty when it's done. It's kind of like a stew, but not really, because you're making more of a gravy out of that braise or the liquid that you're cooking your meat in. So stew is more of like a soup and not so much like a gravy. You know what I mean? So stick around to watch me make some beef bourguignon, so that you know how to make it, and then you can have a delicious dinner as well. So to start out, I just end up throwing bacon into my pan before it starts even getting hot. I usually just throw it in so it's at the same temperature, and then it can get up to temperature, and the bacon will cook that way so that I don't end up burning my bacon, because I want my bacon to be crispy, not burnt. You don't want it to burn. So I recommend putting your bacon in a pot or a pan that is cold and then gets up to temperature. Now I'm just shaking off all the fat and putting my bacon into a separate container. Then it doesn't really have to be cooled off, but it'll cool off anyway, whatever. But yeah, because I don't want my bacon to burn. Now I'm adding my pieces of chuck. I did salt and pepper my beef chuck before putting them into my pot. I also might have overstuffed my pot the first time, but I didn't put all of my meat in the first time. I just put probably more than I needed to the first time. But that's okay, because the other 2 times that I put my meat in there, it's not as crowded and as liquidy. But that's okay. So I'm just putting them in there to sear enough to get brown on the outside. You can kind of see here that there's some dark brown spots. That's just to kind of create more flavor in your beef instead of it just being cooked in liquid. So I took all my beef chuck out, and then I added my onion, carrots, and then I will also add some garlic to this as well. I know the bottom looks burnt. Trust me, it's not burnt. It doesn't smell burnt. It doesn't taste burnt. There's my garlic. It just looks bad. But it's not bad, I promise. You just gotta believe me, okay? So I will now be taking this off the stove and moving that to a container as well. You basically cook everything in one pot, but then you take it out and add another thing and take it out and add another thing. I know, it's a little bit of a nuisance. So I poured my first bottle of wine to make sure it was kind of the correct amount that I was expecting. I was expecting a full cup, but it was a little under a cup. That was fine. So basically what these wines are doing, and I should not have had it boiling like this. I know. I'm sorry. Don't tell me. I know. I'm really sorry. Don't do that either. Don't just add flour like that. I think my mom brain just came in and totally just made me not even think straight. Add flour into cold liquid and then add it. It's whatever. I'm jumbling my words. Now I'm just adding my beef. But what I was saying about the wine was that when you add the wine in, it kind of releases all of that burntness, you can say. It's not burnt. I already said it. It's not burnt. I promise it's not burnt. But it releases all of that off of the pan, so then when you stir it around, all that flavor will get into your sauce. Now I am creating a sachet, which is basically just a fancy term of a pocket for your herbs. Or like a purse for your herbs, I guess. I'm just putting all these herbs in there. It's parsley, thyme, and I used half a teaspoon of crushed bay leaves because I didn't have whole bay leaves. I would have used 2 whole bay leaves. And I'm just basically tying it up in this sachet, and then I will add it to my liquid. And it's easy to fish out, but it's in there to create, the flavors and aromas, but it's a lot easier to take out rather than having to fish through all of that to look for the pieces to take out, because bay leaves aren't really that great to eat. they don't soften up at all. This is me adding bacon, obviously, and then my sachet will come in as well. There it is. And then I'm going to cover my pot. I guess I'm going to stir it first. And then I will cover my pot. And then I will put that Dutch oven into my actual oven and let it bake. Oh no. What? Oh my God. Look at this. No. What did I do wrong? I guess I left it in there too long because there's no liquid left at all. Oh my God. Wow. I'm really upset right now. Well, I guess we're having frozen pizza tonight. I'm filming my outro in my robe because I just got out of the shower. So don't judge me. I did like 3 hours of yard work and it was really tiring and I'm super tired. So I'm glad that something like this that was just in the oven for 4 hours, the only thing I had to cook was the mashed potatoes I was serving with it. And that was super easy because you just cut up the potatoes and put it in the water and wait for it to boil and for them to soften. And then you just mix it up with a hand mixer and there you go. I'm super tired. I am really worn out. But as you can see my reaction, I was like, oh my God, I burned it. I was like, and to be fair, I've never worked with a Dutch oven ever before, and so I was devastated. Oh my gosh. But I have the plate right here, and when I mixed it all up and everything, it still smelled delicious. It still looked delicious. I'm actually really excited to try it and see how it tastes. And of course, I always try my food on camera because honestly, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. It might seem like I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing because this whole process of making this was backwards. And I know that it was backwards. Like when I was doing it, I was like, wow, I just did everything backwards. So I'm going to try it for you guys. Obviously you can't taste it and I'm sorry about that, but you can always try making it yourself and see if you do a lot better than I did. I'm back, my hair is drier, and my tummy is full. So I ended up eating the majority of my food. I had like 1 bite left. So the flavors were really good. This was my husband's response.
Then into the mouth. Nice.
And it is delicious, but he's also not, I don't know, he's just happy with anything that tastes good pretty much. For me, the beef was dry, obviously. I lost the majority of my liquid. There was enough that it left a glaze on the carrots and the meat. It was tender, but the smaller pieces of meat were more dry. They weren't as juicy anymore, obviously, because they just got cooked the life out of them. Since there was no liquid in there, the braising just turned into a roasting. But the flavors were delicious. I say that in every video. The flavors were good. I do think that it tasted good all around, but you know, these videos are just for fun and for me to make for my family and whoever wants to see what I'm making with school. So don't take everything I do completely seriously. I'm learning from my mistakes as much as you are. So make sure to check on your liquid, and if you need to add more liquid so that your beef can keep tenderizing. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye! Beef bourguignon. Beef bourguignon. Beef bourguignon.